Ladies, gentlemen, gamers, welcome back to another Patch Notes review by yours truly, Chris Allen, more colloquially known, I actually didn't mess it up that time, as Tecnics channel, as far as I'm concerned right now. Anyway, it's time. It's been 2 weeks. It's time for a new patch. I'm gonna be honest, I haven't played too much League because I've been busy with life and with other games, namely Fortnite, because the OG Fortnite is back and I've been having fun on that. Star Rail, Genshin, Overwatch, the whole shebang, which I stream live every day at Twitch TV/Technic channel, which I'm also streaming this live right now, and then it's gonna go to YouTube. But anyway, we are back. It's been 2 weeks, and I don't really know what's happening. We're past Worlds. Like, Worlds is nearing its finale in real life currently. But this patch is way past Worlds, so I don't really know what we're doing. I don't really remember what they said for preseason, because I know they're extending the rank season. So right around now, or pretty much around now, we would have been hearing whispers of preseason, or at least what's going on. Maybe it would have been on the PBE or being teased. But because the season's getting extended, I don't really know what's going on. At least on live servers, this is where maybe they're going to have a really long PBE cycle on the PBE for preseason. But I'm not too sure how things are going to go forward. But it seems for now, I've heard no whispers or mentions of preseason, so I think we're safe. We don't have to do the 2-hour long patch notes videos, thank goodness, for now. So it's just going to be a regular patch, hopefully, for now. I have a lot of stuff to do, so we're going to get right into it. Patch 13.22. You're not being paranoid. Patch 13.22 is really here. So I wonder if that means there's Nocturne buffs or anything, because Nocturne has paranoia. Outside of normally sized balance changes, this patch has 2 big updates. I wonder if that means preseason big, but probably not. The first is a sweep of mage and mage-like champions' attack speed. Oh, I wonder if they're hitting up Azir. We noticed that many mages had slow-feeling attack speeds and want to bring almost all of them up to a new baseline for missile speed and snappiness of their basic attack animations, with exceptions for champions who have functional auto-attack replacements, like Karthus or Fiddlesticks. So basically, the champions that don't really auto anyway. Because they, Karthus CS's with his Q, let's be real, and Fiddlesticks doesn't really CS with his autos at all. In fact, I don't even know why he has them. We're also injecting some early attack speed into mages who tend to run the attack speed stat Shard, don't have any strong basic attack synergies in their kit, and don't really have elevated level 1 attack speed. So that's pretty interesting. I'm going to save my opinions for that once we start really getting into it, but if they just said attack speed just plain and simple like that, I would have been like, this is stupid. But them changing the missile speed, I think, is really what matters. And the worst perpetrator of this, which I hope they're going to fix and touch up on, is Veigar. Veigar's missile speed is notoriously slow, and if you play other mages, it feels not that bad to CS, aside from the damage part being low, because you're a mage, you're not an AD. But for Veigar specifically, the auto travel is so slow, you need to sort of like preemptively do it. You need to like pre-attack it and hope you're gonna last hit it. So it's something you kind of got to get used to. If you're a mid laner, you know this well. And the fact that they're hopefully fixing this is going to be a great quality of life. Recently, League has had a lot of changes that I think have been making the game easier and easier, more babyfied. Whether that's because League is dying and they're trying to make the new player experience better, or they're just trying to make the game easier for the swaths of people who suck dick at it, I don't know. But I don't think this change is in that realm. I think this change is honestly just a really good quality of life. But we're going to see what the stats say about that, and if I can even understand them. Anyway, the second is a major kit update, salute, to Janna. Oh, that's actually really cool. Holy shit, I have some opinions on Janna too. We're bringing back elements of her kit from a few years ago, interesting, with the goal of turning her into a more active participant in the game and less about long-range tornadoes. See, I felt like long-range tornadoes was kind of active, but I guess they meant battle, Janna, where like you're actually going up and harassing the enemy rather than sitting back twiddling your wind titties and then throwing out the tornado and being completely safe and behind the AD. Which is Janna, if there's any champion you would be behind the AD as, it would definitely be Janna, not only for her passive, but also for her Q. And as you can hear, I'm still a little sick. But anyway. Jesus Christ. I'm slowly dying. Also, in this patch, be ready to pop off with the new Heartsteel skins, which I reacted to on YouTube. Lo and behold, finally we got the boy band. We had the girl bands for God knows how long. Now it's about the boys, and I like it. Remix it up with the new Mythic variant Breakout True Damage Echo. So for those of you who don't know what that means, that's the new $200 skin, which I will, like to add, is actually way better than their original one, which was for Jhin. And of course, ADC mains get fucked, because not only was the first one for Jhin and ADC, but it was the worst one. Because this Echo one actually changed it up a little bit, and it's actually pretty good. Not $200 good, but it should have been a Mythic Chroma. It should have been a Chroma for 40 Mythic Essence, and it would have been perfect. But Riot wants to make a quick buck, and it's not really Riot, it's the fucking stupid people at the top who are money hungry and greedy. But regardless, it is better than the Jhin one. It is pretty good. It's $200 though, so it should be boycotted and eliminated. But it's not going to be, because according to their data, the Jhin one did well enough to where they're going to keep doing this crap, which is terrible. Or check out the new rotation of the Mythic Shop. We don't care. We also doing some ARAM and Nexus Blitz adjustments for good measure. I might read the Nexus Blitz ones because I haven't been playing that. ARAM is kind of my side piece right now. As long as Nexus Blitz is out, I'm going to play that because it's quicker and it's kind of fun. But we will eventually go back to ARAM. ARAM is good too. And then anyway, we have TFT changes, which I'm going to be honest, I got a little stint of TFT in the past, and maybe I will in the future when I have more time and life isn't fucking my head. But as of now, I'm kind of out of TFT, so we're not paying attention to TFT. Not that we ever did anyway, but we're not doing it now. Excuse me. So I'll go over the skins later on more in depth. I mean, not too much in depth, but a little bit more in depth, but that'll be at the end. So the first champion coming up is Brandoda. So ever since the last change they did to Brand, which I believe was buffing his damage against monsters, I have actually, no lie, seen Brand jungle, unironically. There's so many things where from the past, if I saw them, I would think you're trolling. But now, when you do them, you're apparently not. And, I'll actually give it to Riot here. I don't know if it's because I'm in shitlow, but I've actually seen Brand jungle do not that bad. Like, I had a Brand jungle that actually got pretty fed. Granted, the enemy team got dogged, but he got pretty fed, and I thought he was going to int. So I was actually pretty surprised. But Brand always does damage. Brand is a fucker. I hate Brand. I hate him support. I hate him mid. I hate him jungle. But if he's going to go anywhere, don't put him bot lane, because I don't like him on the enemy or as an ally. But, I don't know what they're going to do to him. If anything, I had to think, like, from what I've personally seen, I imagine they're nerfing his jungle. I imagine Riot, because they only really do this with ADs, but sometimes they go past that. I imagine they're like, okay, Brand jungle's way too good. We want him to go back into support and ruin ADC's lives. So, let's see. We got Brand really close to our power level goals last patch and just want to nudge him over the line. We'd like to ignite Brand mid and jungle as his best roles while retaining support Brand as viable? Wait, no way. So we're nudging up the ability he frequently gets to max in jungle and mid that support tends to leave at one skill point. Are they talking about the E? Oh my god, they are. So they're doing even more damage to monsters, which is not a lot. 220, 230 is not a lot, but it's something. And then the E damage is going up by... Oh, it's actually going down by base early, but then it's scaling harder by 10%. And the base damage is actually going up a little bit too, by 15 later on. That's not bad. I'm actually surprised you max E first, because I feel like you should be maxing W, because you E, then you W, and I feel like the W does more damage overall. But, wow, they actually buffed Brand. Now, granted, what they want to happen and what I think will happen will be two different things. They want to push Brand, it seems like, out of the support role, which I like, right? They still want it to be doable, which it always will be because it's Brand. But the fact that they're just straight buffing his damage, yeah, he's better as a jungler, but he's no worse than he was before at anything else. He's just better overall. So I think people are still going to want to go Brand support just because, A, they don't want to play an actual support. They want to have fun, and they want to think they're the carry. And number two, if you're not really that good at, laning and you don't want to jungle, you go support anyway because it's easier. There's a lot less pressure on you to CS, and you can be worse overall. So, does this do what they want it to do? No. Will it increase Brand's play in other roles? Yes, but will it decrease his support? I don't think so. So the buffs themselves are not bad. They're pretty okay, but combined with the buffs they did from last time, I think this is really good. But it's not solving the problem they're going out to set, and it's causing more problems for me, so I don't like this. It's a good buff, but I don't like it. So, Briar. I haven't seen much Briar since the nerfs, and apparently she's really good. You know, much to my very popular YouTube video reaction of her, and then subsequent video raging about how ass she is, she was actually pretty good. Surprise, surprise. And it takes a man to admit when he's wrong, and I was wrong. She was actually pretty good, it's just she's hard. Which I also assumed, but I was still wrong. But they nerfed her, and I don't like the nerf they did, and from then I haven't really seen too much Briar. So she was kind of new, she was the hip hot thing, and I still love her. I still want to, you know, be her boyfriend. But I really haven't seen her, so I'm assuming she might get buffed just because she hasn't been in the limelight as much, and she's pretty new. But anyway, let's see what they're doing. As players have improved and inted less as Briar, she's continued to climb the ranks as a jungler. She's actually one of the best junglers in the game. We're seeing all her builds outperform at the moment, but specifically her lethality builds, which is actually a very fun build. Ability damage and armor should both synergize with lethality, which is why we've chosen these nerfs, hoping to bring her fighter and lethality builds closer together in power. I'm confused what they're saying here, but let's see. So, the physical damage of Q is going down in base damage, and the armor reduction is going down as well. So how is that? I'm confused. So ability damage and armor shred both synergize with lethality. We should have chosen these. So they want to nerf her, but they want to make her fighter and lethality build more closer in terms of relative power, and her lethality build, from what I'm understanding, was too powerful. And I'll be honest, it kind of was, because I've seen some lethality Briars and some crit Briars, and they heal insane amounts. You would think they have Gore Drinker from just the amount of healing they get from the W, but they don't. But anyway, they nerfed the Q by a decent margin, and then the R, which I think is the hardest thing to hit. I don't think they should be nerfing this, but what are they doing? They are nerfing the base damage as well as the bonus AD by a lot, I would like to add. Wow. 110 to 75 is a little bit of a jump. And they're not touching the AP, because obviously they're not going to touch the AP. But damn, Briar is going to be quite a bit lower in terms of effectiveness. Damn, yo. This is wild. See, this is where I don't think Briar is that good in general. I mean, obviously they have to overload her because her kit is so unique, but I'm a little scared. If they nerf her past this, I think this should be not the nail in the coffin, but the nail in the coffin of, like, her still being good. If they nerf her past this, I think it's going to be too much. I already think this is bordering, like, okay, I think we're heading into dangerous territory, but I think Briar, you should be rewarded for doing what you do on her. Now, granted, it might be a little easier in the lower ranks, but in the higher ranks, she's probably very fucking hard. So, I don't like this. I don't like this. I could kind of understand it in terms of lethality, but this just nerfs her overall. Like, why are they nerfing the armor reduction? I don't like that. And the fucking bonus AD. Like, are you... Like, what? What? Anyway. Yeah, Briar's slightly worse. I'm a little scared for that, but we'll see in the future. Mundo! So, I don't know why they keep changing Mundo recently. I feel like we've had, like, Mundo changes. I don't know if he's strong or weak. I've played against a Mundo as Nasus, and I beat the ever-living fucking dog shit out of him. So I don't think he's that strong, but he doesn't feel bad. Again, I think every time I go to Mundo, I feel like he's just neutral. Let's see what they're doing. Our Dr. Mundo nerf from last patch ended up hitting his win rate more than we intended, and we're partially reverting it. Wow. To give Mundo some agency, we'll be reverting some of the E passive attack damage nerf. So they're not going to give it fully back, but they're going to give it some back. So the passive bonus AD is going from 3 to 3.4. This is such a wiener change, I feel like this does not matter. So, Mundo is the same in my eyes. Graggy Ice. I think Gragas is weird. I recently played Gragas, and by recently I mean like a couple months ago. Again, for the first time in years, and I really didn't like him. I think he is a very high skill cap champion, but I just don't think he was at his former glory where he was one-shotting people. Now, granted, should he be one-shotting people? No. Does he have a place without one-shotting people? Yeah. But is he most fun when he's one-shotting and doing a lot of damage and building full damage? Yes. So I feel like they should buff him. I feel like they're going to buff him. But let's see. While not strictly powerful, max ability haste Gragas' abilities to remove enemies from being able to play the game is just not acceptable gameplay. I feel like that's true. I feel like Gragas' cooldowns are really low, and especially with the passive he has, his passive is not bad. And he gains damage reduction from his W, and he has a lot. Like, he has a lot in just his main 3 abilities, let alone his ult. So he's a very somewhat stacked champion, I would say. And his cooldowns are pretty low. However, we also acknowledge that Gragas could use some love. This is where his cooldowns are low, but his damage isn't that high. This patch, we're hoping to buff Gragas through a better cooldown refund on E, plus an extra buff on the reliability of his ultimate. We expect these changes to help jungle Gragas most of all. I hope so. That's the only Gragas you should be going. So if you're raring to rabble-rouse some raptors, Gragas is ready to roll. I think that was the Scooby-Doo pun. I kind of like that. Alright, so the Body Slam. Cooldown refund on hit is going from 3 seconds to 40% of remaining cooldown. So, that's a buff until you get a lot of ability haste, like they said. And then we did the math for you. So 3 goes to... See, this is what I like. Why can't they do this for every fucking change? Why can't they be transparent? So it goes from 3 to 5.6, 5.4, 5.2, 4.8. Scaling, obviously, with ability haste. So it's actually pretty much a buff, but it's actually a nerf if you have more ability haste. So it's actually very cheeky of Riot. I actually like that. That's pretty interesting. Explosive cast his R. The travel time is going from 0.55 to 0.5. What the fuck? How is that a buff? You're shaving off 0.05 of a second. Not even a tenth of a second. Half of a tenth of a second. I feel like that is going to not matter. Now, granted, I'm the guy who didn't think 5 AD off Jhin would matter, but it did. Especially for his grenade and his auto. Or sorry, 1 AD or 2 AD. I think they nerfed 2 AD off of it, and I noticed it. So, maybe I could be not viewing it as critically, because I'm not a Gragas player, but I really feel like the R buff is just there to be like, hey, we did something. So Gragas, I think, is just better early, but worse when he was getting ridiculous. So they curbed his ridiculousness, but made him feel slightly better before he gets ridiculous, which is good. I think this is good. Not that good, but good. Graves. So I barely see Graves nowadays. I feel like Graves is just out of the meta. I feel like when Graves was in the meta, he was an absolute force to be reckoned with. He dominated everything. And then they slowly just took parts away from him, slowly but surely, because that's what Riot does, death by 1,000 cuts. And I think the nail in the coffin, for me personally, that I really noticed was once they removed him getting MR from his E, I think, like at that point, I was like, okay, they removed a lot of damage from him. Now that they're removing the MR, he's just not an all-around god, which he shouldn't have been. But I feel like ever since then, people have this power fantasy of Graves, and he's not living up to it anymore. I do not see many Graveses, and when I do, because I did see one recently, they're kind of underwhelming. So if, honestly, I wish they just improved his fucking damage. Graves has a fucking gigantic shotgun. He should be blowing your head off with that shit. So let's see what they're doing. Graves, who was already in a good spot, benefited from our 13.20 jungle companion adjustments due to the bonus armor he gains. He has safe clears with his range, and passive can also skirmish aggressively due to his end-kit durability. Yeah, only with physical. This allows him to reliably scale into mid and late game where he performs quite well. I would disagree a little bit, but yeah, okay. To give his opponent more of a chance to fight him in the early game, they're adjusting the power of his E, which is the main thing I was just talking about. We're reducing both his level 1 and level 5 values. This is mainly intended to increase his early vulnerability while still keeping his mid to late game power intact. So the bonus armor, which used to be bonus armor and MR, but they took that away, is now getting half to early, which matters more than you would think, like I always say, and then barely tickled late. I don't like this change. I really feel like Graves, unless you're in the hands of a professional, which most people are not, is really not that good. He's not bad, right? So I do agree with Riot on that account. He's definitely not bad. Excuse me. But he's not that great either. I do not agree with these nerfs. I do not endorse these. Next. Okay, finally, we're getting to the Janna rework. So, what do I think of Janna? I think Janna, like I said in the beginning, is sort of just a Q bot, right? She's really good at peeling, but Janna is, for all intents and purposes, basically promoted to just sit in the back and queue. And it becomes really boring and really menial in terms of laning. Like, laning, it'll do something, but not much. And if you're against engage, it's really, really good. This is where Janna has a really high skill ceiling, especially if the player is not just a Q bot spamming. But overall, I think they kind of pigeonholed themselves with how they made Janna, and obviously they're changing it. So let's see how it is. But overall, I don't think Janna's that good. And, you know, aside from anti-engage, which is great, but I might have to say goodnight to my grandparents. Oh, no, never mind. We're good for now. Surprising. I thought they were going to say goodnight to me. Anyway, one of the benefits of doing this live. I think Janna is really high skill cap, like I said, that like messed up my whole fucking train of thought. But you're basically incentivized to queue and just sit in the back and do it, and she's very good against anti-engage. Aside from that, though, the main issue I have with her... Oh, there it is. Gainichta. The main issue I have with Janna is her E. Janna's E... I feel like Janna is known, obviously, for her anti-engage. Her ult basically heals for nothing. It's more of a CC than anything. The healing is like Jack Diddley, let's be honest, for an ultimate. And her E, I think, is one of the main cruxes of what used to be her identity before she became a Q spam bot. And the E is kind of just wiener. The fact that the E decays, I think, is so bad. I think they should just buff it to make it not decay, and then a lot of Janna's strength, in terms of not being just a Q bot, comes back. Now, granted, they have to nerf the Q bot spam, or at least buff other places, but this is where I think the Q is like, you know, the Q kind of needs to be addressed. But if they take away the decay on the E and don't touch anything else, Janna's just overall better. Now, does she need to be better? I don't know, because she's very niche in my eyes. Again, she's good overall, and this is where there is a Janna player that I've seen where he's like the best Janna in the world, I'm assuming. And he's very aggressive. Like, he could do everything on Janna. He can engage, he can disengage, he could do it all, similar to Lulu. But it's very, very hard to do on Janna. Like, you need to be really good. So for most people, Janna, I think, is pretty niche. So let's see what they're doing. So we've noticed that Janna's play rate has languished, as most supports have, despite being a relatively strong pick in many skill brackets. Yeah, because the only people who pick her are the people who know how to play her. Looking at her prior iterations, we identified elements that seemed to really resonate with her potential player base. So we're bringing back some past versions of her abilities. So again, I really hope that means the E, but I guess we'll see. Anyway, more importantly, we're shifting her from a low interaction champion, a Q spam bot, who fishes for tornadoes and reactively shields into an aggressive high uptime auto attacker and Zephyr casters. Many of these changes are shifting incentives and power budgets around, which is hopefully what's actually going to happen. With auto attacks and Ws becoming better and more frequent, she's losing some power. Gainichta. Alright, and there's the last good night. She's losing some power in her Q. With mana costs going down to incentivize repeat Zephyr casts, which Battle Janna, believe it or not, at one point in time did used to be an issue, and I believe they nerfed it. And then they incentivized you becoming a Q spam bot. So Riot's kind of like choosing which problem they want Janna to be, only to change it after. But anyway, her mana pool follows suit. Overall, we expect her to max Zephyr before Eye of the Storm and play an aggressive harass-based game. So this is where I think overall, if they're going to do what they're actually saying, if they do it successfully, I think overall there will be less Janna players, because doing that on Janna is a little bit difficult. And people, it's the same reason people play Brand in support, right? They want an easy time. They don't want to think. They want to do good with minimal effort. Janna being a Q spam bot, and I don't even think Janna's used that much anyway, because most actual supports aren't. But this is where, if you take that away, if you take away Janna's easy playstyle, which, you know, whether it's good or not is a different question, but if you take away her easy playstyle, I think, yes, this might be overall better, but less people will play Janna because of this. But that's just my assumption. Anyway, let's see what they're doing. So attack range is going up, so you can poke more easily. That's good. Base mana is going up by 10. That doesn't matter. Mana growth going down. Wow. Health growth is going slightly up. Armor growth, base attack damage going down because she has more range, so she's more reliable with it. Attack damage growth is down, and then attack windup is down. Excuse me. So the biggest thing here, I think, is just her attack range going up by 50. That matters a lot, and Janna can definitely auto-attack more now. Now, again, most people won't be doing that. Most people won't even be going up to people to even auto-attack. But this is where the good people with Janna will definitely take advantage of this. So anyway, her passive, Tailwind. They removed it. What? Janna no longer gains bonus move speed while facing allied champions, so now the new one. Janna's basic attack and W deal bonus magic damage equal to a percentage of her move speed. Wow, they're actually changing this? Holy shit! I believe Janna had this already. I don't remember if it was her passive or her W, but I can't believe they're going back to this. Holy shit, so they really wanted to do damage. Wow. Okay, damn. That's big. That's really big. Holy shit. So her Q, Howling Gale. So the mana cost is going slightly up. The cooldown is going slightly up. The minimum damage is going slightly down, but scaling harder. And then the maximum damage is going down overall, which is weird because the base damage went up. For the minimum. Okay, so I thought they would nerf the Q harder, but they honestly didn't. The W cooldown is getting giga buffed from 12 to fucking 7. Holy shit, at max rank. That's insane. The mana cost is going down, well, slightly down as you level it. That's good. The damage is getting slightly nerfed, but it's getting the damage bonus from the passive, so it's going up in my opinion. The slow duration is getting slightly nerfed because it's going to be happening a lot more often, which I think that's fine. And then Zephyr's passive move speed is no longer removed while on cooldown. That's actually pretty fucking big. Holy fucking shit. Because at that point, if you use Zephyr, you're actively nerfing your damage. Which they might just reintroduce in the future. Who knows? And finally, her E, the Eye of the Storm. Which I thought was the Q, but okay. So her E is going massively up in cooldown. From 9 to 12. Well, not massive, but a good chunk. Her mana cost is going down. The shield amount is going up, which is good. And then the duration is going down, which I don't like. Oh my god, they actually did it though. The shield no longer decays. Holy shit, that makes me hard. Janna no longer gains heal and shield power on CC, that's fine. And then reduce the cooldown by 20% remaining on slow/knockup once per spell. So you can't get like a 5-man knockup on Q and instantly reset your E, which I think they should just add that in, but that's just me. So if you W or you Q, the E is gonna get cooldown shaved off. Honestly, I think this is way better. The biggest thing that hurts this is the shield duration going down, but the fact that it no longer decays, I was thinking like this is gonna be horrible for Janna's shield. Like she's just gonna be combat Janna and everything else, like the shielding and the healing. Which again, like I said, the healing wasn't even there, but the shielding now is gonna be left behind too. But no, the shielding I still think is pretty good, if not better. It might last for less, but overall, I think it's just better. I actually really like these Janna changes. This is definitely gonna shake her up. Now again, overall, will less people play her because she is harder to play? Maybe. I think some people definitely played her just to spam Q and kind of AFK. And at that point, I don't know why they didn't play Yumi, but it is what it is. But yeah, I actually really like these Janna changes. Wow. I like those a lot. So, then we have Cassant, the top lane Yumi, because he has had so many fucking issues and he keeps getting nerfed because he is just busted beyond belief. So, we micro-patched Cassant early in 13.21, and this note here is to make sure you all see the change that went live. So this has already been out. His changes over the past few weeks have closed the gap between elite and average skill play, even though I've seen he's still been busted. He's still much better in the hands of well-practiced players, which is very much intended. Now that he's accessible and strong in the hands of many more players, we're going to wait and see how his new strengths and weaknesses manifest in Pro, but we'll continue monitoring the situation. Well, they're going to be waiting a while because they're still playing Worlds, and Worlds is on a very old patch at this point. So, yeah, who knows when that's going to fucking happen. Anyway, his Intofo strikes, for those of you that didn't know, the bonus health for minimum cast time was increased. So it's going to take him a little bit longer to get to that. So, Kasaladin. What do I think of Kasaladin? I think Kassan's good. I think he used to be the go-to person for mid lane scaling. If you got to late game Kassan, you were feared like a walking fucking nuclear warhead. Now you're not really feared as much. You're still pretty good, but you're not like that guy anymore. And I hope they return that. I really hope they return that. So I hope to see Kassan's damage increase. I don't think Kassan is particularly good anyway. He's a melee anti-mage. Mage. He's a mage anti-mage melee. Maybe that's the better way of saying it. And I just feel like his early game is not that great. His mid game is pretty good, but to play Kassan and his late game is obviously pretty, really good. Not what it used to be, but still really good. But I feel like Kassadin just, games don't go that long anyway, even though Riot's trying to change that. And I feel like he's just very hard. Like a lot of people just aren't that good with him because he's melee and mid, he's a little harder to play. So what are they gonna say? I hope they buff him. Kassan, like other scaling champions, benefited from reduced snowballing in the game and can use some toning down. We decided to reduce the damage on his E and R, the most damaging stuff in his kit, because now that he scales more consistently, he gets access to these high AP ratios, which allow him to reliably deal a significant amount of damage. So they just don't like that he does damage, it seems like. This adjustment is intended to require him to stack more Rs before having as much upfront damage. Interesting, so they want it later in the fight. Let's see how bad this is. So his scaling is going down by 5 on the E. That's okay for now. And then the R, 0 stack damage is going to get nerfed by 10% scaling. Honestly, that's okay. I think that's fine. I think these are not slaps on the wrist, but a stern talking to. I think Kassan is still kind of near where he's at, and obviously he's still going to scale like an animal. And the R only seems like a nerf to the first one, which is fine. Yeah, overall, these are not as bad as I thought. Kassan's still alright. Neela. So, Neela's interesting. I think she's the only ADC that's an actual ADC, right? Because you have people like Teemo and stuff that's considered ADCs, even though they're not. And so, and Jace too. Jace and Teemo are in the ADC category, but we all know they're not ADCs. This is where I would say Neela is one of the few actual ADCs that I just don't like. They tried to make her the melee ADC, and she is definitely unique, but I think she's so hard, so annoying to play, and so convoluted that, yeah, you eventually do good. She needs to scale. She's a character that needs to scale. Most ADs need to scale, but I feel like playing her just isn't fun because you're more of a burster. Like, you auto, yeah, sure, but you're more just gonna go and burst them and that's it. And being melee just feels really weird. This is where you have Yasuo as the alternative to bot lane. But I don't know. I just don't like Neela. Now, whether I like her or not is different from what I actually think. I think Neela is pretty fucking good. Now, she scales like a fucking animal, and she takes a while to scale, I feel like. But when she does, oh my dear lord, does she scale. Hello, Brazilian girl. Does she scale, though? Like, she scales fucking hard, and her passive helps her scale somewhat faster. So, I thought they were going to say some bullshit like, oh, because the game doesn't snowball as hard and it lasts longer, she's getting more reliably to her damage, and her damage is too high. Basically what they echoed with Kassadin. Now, hopefully, like, Kassadin's not going to be too big of a nerf, because I honestly feel like if you get to the point where you're doing good on Neela, you kind of deserve it, because I don't think she's that easy, and to get to that point, you kind of have to get a decent amount into the game. And if you're good, you'll shut her down before that case. And I don't really think she could come back. But honestly, I don't know. I really don't play her. I do not like her. One of the few ADs I really don't like. Anyway, let's see what they're doing. So, Nyla has been a strong performer for a long time. So I wonder if that's in regular or pro play. Because I have seen her in regular and she blew me up. But I was playing Xerath, so it's to be expected. And that strength has finally caught on. This patch, we're lowering her ability to single-handedly carry team fights with her whip blade. Which is weird because the role is called all damage carry. They're supposed to carry. Anyway, let's see what they're doing. So, the bonus attack speed from Q is going down by 10. That's going to sting a little bit. And then the R, which is, I think, the main thing that basically fucks people's heads. So the damage over time is getting, oh my dear god, that's getting kind of big nerfed. Holy shit. It's going from 112 to 80. Wow, that's not small. And then the maximum damage aside from the initial damage over time, is getting lowered to not that bad. Not that bad. So she's losing 32%, but it's not really 32% because she has over 200 bonus scaling. Yeah, I think if the problem is she's doing too much damage, this will bring her in line. Again, I'm really unfamiliar with Neela, and I'm not scared to say it. I'm not ashamed to say it. I don't know how much this is going to nerf her. It doesn't look like it's a lot. Hopefully it'll be enough, but I think Neela should feel a little strong. Like, she's so unique, and I think she's not that easy to wear. I think this is fine. Because God, have I seen bad Neelas. But anyway, hopefully this is enough, but let's just hope they leave it there. Rammus. So what do I think of Rammus? Obviously Rammus is anti-AD, anti-physical. But this is where I've seen recently, along with Briar, Rammus has been one of the top junglers. So if you're at the top, I doubt you're going to get a buff, similar to how Briar just got, not massively nerfed, but kind of neutered. She kind of got a mastectomy. I would say Rammus is probably going to get nerfed because he is pretty good. Now, granted, he's niche, but he's still really good. And even if you're not playing him into full physical, he still does pretty well. So what are they doing? Rammus gained a ton of power in 13.20 as armor became a much stronger stat in the jungle. Then he lost a bit when he gained because of the direct nerfs and systematic buffs to AD junglers. Okay. We're looking to return Rammus to his power level from 13.19 and before. We're choosing to unwind some of his nerfs from 13.21 and hope that they get to that goal. So they're basically giving him 10 armor back. I would say for anyone else, this doesn't matter, except early, because early it matters way, way more. But because it's Rammus, I would say it does matter, because Rammus scales off armor, and he's Rammus. So I think this is okay. I think this is pretty good. This is a nice buff to Rammus. I don't think he really needed it, personally, but it just helps his niche even more. So I don't think he really needed help with it, but apparently he did. So it is what it is. Not terrible, but pretty good. Senna. I've seen a lot of Senna recently. This is where, the main question comes in. Has Senna really ever been out of favor? No, not really. But I don't know what's going on. Maybe it's probably because of Worlds. But I've seen Senna used a lot more often. So this is where I would say, hopefully, excuse me, my goodness, hopefully we see a nerf to Senna. Because I think she's annoying. I think she's a bitch. She's a weird hybrid support ADC, and people who go her support need to be shot. Granted, if you go her ADC, you need to be shot, so if you play her at all, you need to be shot. But that's a little hypocritical of me to say, because I like playing Senna sometimes. I like being a fucker. But I think Senna is pretty... See, it's weird, because the people who have played her have sucked complete dick that have played with me. But I do think Senna's really good, and I've seen some really good Sennas. So, Senna is an infinite scaler, obviously. She's a stat stick, eventually. And I think her overall kit is good. It's just people need to realize she's an AD, she's squishy, but she gains range out the wazoo. This is where I can't really see them nerfing her, even though I want them to. Because all the people I see play her are ass. But granted, I'm in really bad elo, so that might be the case. I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. But let's see. All I know is Senna is fucking annoying. And it's not like the brand thing where it's like, I don't want to see her. If I see a Senna on the enemy team, I get scared. If I see her on my team, I'm like, oh, she's terrible. But this is where a good Senna is definitely welcomed. A good brand, I do not want it. Anyway, what are they doing? Senna gained a lot of power because Lee can last longer, so she needs to take a step back, especially in elite play, of course. It's cool that she's a strong scaler with a lot of agency and some strong matchups, but she's currently too successful as a lane bully. Yeah, unless you punish her with an engaged support, which aren't really played anymore. And too bursty in the mid game, which I definitely agree. Senna does some stupid damage eventually. Both Q damage and healing are higher in elite MMR than normal, which explains our target selection. So, they're just touching the Q. The damage is going down by 20 base, that's fine. And then the healing is also... Oh, I didn't realize it even scaled off lethality. Holy shit. The healing is going down by 20 as well. Just base. Wow, they're just nerfing her base. That's almost next to nothing. in the grand scheme of things. It's going to hurt slightly, but it's the max level that they're nerfing, so it's really not much. It's something. If they ever go past this, it's definitely going to be something. But it's not that much here. Senna is still Senna. Nice. Seraphine, oh my god. Why does every champion have a fucking paragraph right now? What is this? So, Seraphine's changes last patch brought her up in all roles and has made W Max support Seraphine significantly stronger than it was before. Well, I haven't fucking seen it. I've never seen this champion. However, because of all her roles went up, she's now a little too strong as a bot laner. Surprise, surprise. Which is probably what I said when she got buffed. We'll be addressing it this patch. The passive is shifting to a higher base value with lower AP ratios, which should help mid and support while bringing bot lane more in line with her other roles. Varying the Q cooldown buff from last patch and adding a WAP ratio nerf will end up lowering her power everywhere, but should disproportionately hit bot lane because we can't have good things in bot lane. But this is not one of them. Seraphine being played as AD, not one of them. We'll keep an eye on her performance, la 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 la. Okay, cool. So, her passive, which I didn't think really did much damage anyway, is getting buffed. Base, but nerfed scaling. Her Q, the cooldown is going up early, which is fine. And then the W, because I always thought Seraphine was a really good scaler. And then the W is getting slightly nerfed. So she's slightly worse. She's slightly worse. It's fucking the same shit. Not much is going on here. Okay, Tommy boy. It's so crazy because I feel like Tom Kench for a while was the old school Cassante. The old school Cassante, or not old school Cassante, fuck. The old school Tom Kench had so many issues. He was so good in so many ways that they had to basically change his entire role to being a bitch support because he was too good a top laner. But now I feel like, see, I don't know what to feel about Tom Kench. I barely see him, and when I do see him as support, I've been seeing like some instances of him breaking out of the support threshold and going top and eating some ass, but it's rare. And it's sad because Tom Kench's character, and you know, this was pre-rework, I don't know post-rework how it is too much because he's mainly played as support, but this is where post-rework, and even pre-rework, I think the best and most fun Tom had was when he was doing damage not as a support, but it was just massively, massively unfair. This character is fucking unfair. Like, in a one-on-one, that gray health essentially gives him a second health bar, and if he doesn't use the gray health to shield, he heals. Like, this guy has insane damage in lane, is really beefy, can 2v1. It's almost like a Lowy, except he doesn't have tentacles, he has a tongue. But that's how he used to be. He's not like that anymore. So I'm really curious to see what direction they want to take him in. I don't know if he's getting buffed or nerfed. I don't know if they want to break him out of the bot lane. I don't know. I haven't really seen him. So the fact that means he's probably a support because engaged supports are not really played because they're not that fun. So anyway, what are they doing? Tom Kench gained plenty of power from our buff last patch, and while we're going to let him keep a lot of it, we've chosen to walk back on some of it. He's performing reasonably as a support. We'll be particularly targeting his gold scaling by nerfing his passive bonus health ratio. Oh, I see. So what are they doing? So his passive is getting... I'm so confused what's happening here. Oh, he's scaling slightly worse on health. 1% less. Man, who gives a fuck? Yo, I'm saying so much shit and the changes are so wiener. Alright, and then we have Ziggs. So, Ziggle. What do I think of Ziggs? I think Ziggs used to be really good. I think he's not that good anymore. I think he's been overshadowed. I think the biggest niche that they gave Ziggs, which isn't even that good, is he's a really good tower taker. He's a really good sieger. He has great AoE. I don't want to say he's necessarily a zoning mage, because when I think of zoning mage, I think of Orianna. Ziggs is more of like, I guess I would put him as a zoning mage, but not as good as Ori. But Ziggs is pretty good. It's just back in the day, I feel like he did more damage, and now he doesn't do enough damage. He is a spammer, but because he's spamming, his skills don't do that much, obviously. And I do see Ziggs from time to time, but they don't make quite the explosion like they used to. Explosion! So anyway, I'm hoping to see Ziggs buffed here, but who knows. Ziggs has been enjoying his increased Q reliability from patch 13.20. I forgot they changed that. A bit too much, and we've decided to adjust him so he can keep it. He's quite a safe pick due to how far back from his opponents he can play, and his nerf is intended to increase his vulnerability. I see. He's also getting slightly nicer basic attack as part of the sweeping change on mages. So let's see what they're doing. So the base armor is going down, so he is really, really fucking squishy. If you have below 20 armor early, you're like kind of paper, because I think we're getting into like Sona levels of squishy. And then his attack frames, I don't really know what that's doing, but I'm just going to trust Riot and say it probably makes him feel better, even though it's by 0.8%. Not even 1%. So yeah, Ziggs is, I don't even want to say slightly worse. I want to say moderately worse, because, again, the less armor you have, the more of an impact any change makes. And going from 22 to 18 is really low already. That's a big impact. So, holy sweet Jesus, look at what we have to read. So this patch, we've taken a broad sweep across every champion that can reasonably be considered a mage. Hopefully they did Azir, but probably not, because his auto attack is instant. And notice that many of them have weak feeling basics, which I'm assuming would have been the case because they're mages. While we don't expect most of these champions to feel as snappy as marksmen, which they shouldn't, or to basic attack as well as they do, it's important that something they do hundreds of times a game feels good, which I do agree. Even if it doesn't represent much of their powers, which is fine. So it's a quality of life change. So let's see what they're doing. First, we're bringing basic attack windups. This is how long the attack animation and their attack actually fires, to a new baseline. With exceptions for champions who have innate basic attack replacements, Karthus's Q, obviously, or a weapon that implies slow basic attacks, which is Mord's fucking Mace Nightfall. Excuse me. Second, we're bringing up missile speed to a new minimum as well, thank the good lord, which should especially help with last-hitting minions. Third, we're trying to alleviate the desire to run attack speed shards on mages, which you shouldn't be doing anyway, who don't have any inherent attack speed synergies within their kit. You're basically wasting a rune. Through modifying their level 1 attack speed ratios and stuff, the degree to which champions scale with sources of bonus attack speed, and inherent attack speed growth, as many of these champions are already quite strong, we're limiting the magnitude to about 5% at level 1, and we'll keep an eye out for any champions that become too strong. If they're becoming too strong from this tiny-ass change of attack speed as a mage, then something's a fucking issue. So anyway, let's see. So Ahri. I'm probably just going to go through these quite quickly, because I'm just going to trust Riot here, and I'm going to mainly just look out for Veigar. So Ahri is getting hit, Anivia is getting hit, not by much though. Annie's getting hit, which is funny, because Annie's are also really slow too, I will say that. Cassio's are slow, so that's good. Heimerdingers are really slow, and he's throwing a fucking wrench at you, so that's good. Ivern, I did not expect to see here. Holy shit. Karthus, I thought they said they weren't doing him, but apparently they are. LeBlanc, Lysandra, Nico. I thought Nico's weren't that bad, but when you do build attack speed on her, because people did build on hit Nico, because she has the third hit, at least she used to in her old kit. I don't know if she does in the new one. It definitely did look a little weird and wonky. Orianna, I think Orianna's are actually kind of okay. I feel like Orianna's attacks don't feel terrible. Rumble's weird. I feel like Rumbles are fine. Rises is okay. Singed, I thought was fine. Syndra was fine, in my opinion. Talia, I don't know, but looked kind of slow. Teemo was slow on purpose, weirdly enough, but he's an AD. TF was fine, and then Veigar was the big one. So Veigar is going to 1500. Is that the baseline now? It is. 1500 seems to be the baseline. Okay, cool. Yeah, and Ori's were quite close anyway. I knew I felt it. And I knew Ori was quite close. I could feel it. So anyway, Veigar's getting pretty buffed, which is good. Vel'Koz, Xerath. Xerath, I think, were kind of fine too. Zillion and Zoe. Zillion's were kind of slow. Zoe's, I felt like, were okay. So cool. So that's that. Mages should feel a lot better auto-attacking. And hopefully I notice it, but I don't really play mages, so I don't know. So let's see. I probably won't even notice the difference. If I do, then that means it was probably a really good change. So vision adjustments. We're modifying how vision is granted when attacking from Fog of War on Summoner's Rift. I see. Experienced players understand that attacking from brush makes the brush nearly unusable, and so don't bother. Well, the main reason brushes exist, right, is to either surprise someone in the jungle or in lane. The main reason brushes exist is, in my opinion, to get rid of minion aggro, or again, to surprise someone. But aside from those two things, once you do any of them, like Riot says, the bush is basically done. Like, it lost its usefulness. So, let's see what's going on here. So, experienced players understand that attacking from the brush makes the brush nearly unusable, and so don't bother, but it's nearly impossible to know how long you're revealed when you're performing fairly normal behaviors like attacking enemies from over a wall. This also has the negative downside of occasionally betraying your hiding teammates. Lol. Like they care about that. We're shrinking the reveal circle to give away teammates less frequently and shortening the reveal in order to make the delay before dipping back into fog of war more intuitive. So how much are they doing this? Though the attack range, or sorry, the reveal radius is going down by about 100. I don't think that's that much. And then the reveal circle, or sorry, the reveal duration is getting pretty buffed. I don't know how big a change this is, but it could be okay, it could be decent, but we'll have to wait and see. Ping changes, the thing that people use to tell each other to unalive themselves, which Riot heavily censored, sadly enough, because we can't have anything in this world where we make fun of someone else. But even though we find ways around it, literally I saw a workaround, which isn't even a workaround, it's just a lazy way of doing it, where people literally type in, because they stopped you from pinging a champion's portrait. This is where people are finding the workaround, where it's like they're just copy and pasting it. They're copying like, oh, Darius alive, and then they're just pasting it in regular chat. So, don't discredit people into finding solutions, because this is where if they want to flame, they're going to flame. Granted, making it harder is definitely going to restrict it, but I feel like we're getting into like nonsense kitty territory of like, oh, goo goo gaga, you can't handle the rattle because you might hit yourself on the head. That's basically what Riot's doing. Anyway, what are they doing with the pings? It better not be something stupid. Overall, we're continuing to evaluate the ping changes and currently consider them successful in reaching our original goals, which is not harassing people. We've seen measurable improvements in players feeling respected and safe in the game. How do you even measure that? After shipping these and the ranked restrictions, we're still working on hitting a balance between available constructive communication and protecting the experience from destructive comms. So, within 10 seconds of getting an epic objective takedown, all allied pings directed to your champion are visible to your team. So the ping lockout time has now reverted to... Oh. So if you ping too many times and you kept doing it, you'd be locked out for a while, but now you're only locked out for a little bit because there's only so many things you could ping now. This was really changed in 13.19, but did not make the patch notes for some reason. I actually heard about that on YouTube. People were complaining about that. The alert and enemy missing pings can only be used 3 times before being rate limited. Okay, see, I don't know about that. The enemy missing ping, obviously that's one that's used also a lot to basically vent frustration. But, dude, why is Riot loading us so much? Like, to a certain point, I agree with them because this game is toxic as fuck. But past a certain point, it's like, alright, you're treating us like fucking babies. Like, what the hell? Like, dude, the question mark ping, the enemy missing ping, the Mia ping is my favorite ping. Like, yo, you use that if you want to flame someone, barely if you ever want to ping Mia. And back in the day, I feel like pinging Mia was a lot more like, not just respected, but even just actually used seriously. Like back in the day, if someone ganked like another person's lane, they'd be like, yo, where's the Mia? As if that mattered. Even if you'd Mia and they died, they'd still blame you. But back in the day, the Mias were definitely more respected. Now they're just kind of used purely to flame. Or I guess to alert someone. Be like if you ping the Mia, that means your laner's missing. So it still is good, but like I said, back in the day it was more respected. But yeah, this change is kind of, I don't like that. I like you could only use it 3 times. But the lockout isn't as long, so I guess it's fine. So ARAM adjustments. Wow, we really don't have many here, do we? Lilia is taking less damage. Aphelios is dealing less damage. Nice. And then nerfs. Cassant is getting nerfed for some reason. And then Tryndamere is getting nerfed as well. Cool. Nexus Blitz. Oh shit. Anyway. Nexus Blitz has been live for a patch and the team has been hard at work squashing bugs. See, this is where I don't know when it's coming back, but I really want them to return fuck, I don't even remember the name. Shit. The 2v2v2v2 game mode. The Soul Fighter event shit. I forgot what it was called, but it was so fun. Like, if they make that shit better, that I can honestly see that being a permanent game mode. That's how fun that shit is. But anyway, the aspect of the dragon is now not a general reward. It's a reward if you're doing good, which is fine because it's a win more buff anyway, which is what Elder was anyway as well. Even though you could steal Elder, this one you can't steal. It's literally just like, if you're winning even harder, which if you won 3 events, you're probably beating the dog shit out of the enemy team anyway. So buffs. Bard is getting buffed, Bliss is getting buffed. I'm not going to read these shits, I don't even really care. And then bug fixes, who gives a fuck? Okay, so here we go. Quick Play is finally getting launched. I'm actually really excited to see this, and I'm going to be honest, probably right after I record this, because I'm also live streaming, like I said, I'm probably going to try this. I don't know if it's out yet. If it's not out, then I'm going to be sad. But I'm probably going to try this on stream. Excuse me, because I'm curious how fast this is. Quick Play will be released to live regions by region in patch 13.22. Okay, so this isn't even out yet. Fuck. What's going on, Rodriguez? Hello. So it's not out yet, but I guess it's coming out. In order to make sure players who own a limited number of champions have access to Quick Play, new player specific free-to-play champion rotation is expanded to Diana, Jinx, Malphite, Mord, Rammus, Yumi. Oh my god, they're giving a lot. Holy shit. And they're giving good champions too. Players can select Smite starting from Summoner level 3. Damn, they're letting you jungle even earlier. I mean, with how easy the jungle is now, I think it's fine. Quick Play First Surrender will be available at 10 minutes. Oh, shit. Quick Play Surrender at 20 will be successful with 3/5 of the players agreeing. Wow. And then Eternals will be available on Quick Play in a later patch. Damn, so Quick Play is really its own thing. That's crazy. And then Quick Play known bugs, because there's known bugs already that they didn't even fix. Purchase the Chroma in the Quick Play lobby consecutively. They temporarily lock out Chroma purchasability. Oh, wow. So it's basically just having to do the Chromas, which doesn't matter. So yeah, I'm very curious. I'm very curious to try Quick Play out. Granted, trying it out at the very beginning seems to be a little detrimental, but we'll see. But, you know, it literally is what it says. It's quick, and you play, and even the playing might be quick, so that's good. So, global language select. Somehow this wasn't in the game already, and by game I mean client, but now it is. So you can now select it in the client. Before you had to download, I believe, a whole different client. But now they've centralized it, but now that means that, you know, if you download it, it's going to be more space. But that shouldn't be an issue for most people. So anyway, note there will be some language inconsistencies with publishing content in the client since we do not localize all of our regional publishing. Okay, cool. And then this will go live separately from the patch on November 8th. So that's tomorrow. Nice. And then there's already known bugs. I don't care. Mythic shop rotation. I don't even give a fuck about this. Bug fixes and quality of life. I wish they would separate them because I don't really care about bug fixes unless it affects something I know personally, which I usually don't. But quality of life, I wish they would put in a separate tab, but I guess they don't, which is whatever. I guess you could consider some bug fixes quality of life, but this is where I would argue some bug fixes are literally nerfs, which is what they do to fucking Jhin. Riot Sakar named himself after the planet Hulk. Yeah, that is true. That's actually pretty cool. So anyway, finally we're on to the skin. So, like I said in the beginning, we have all the Heartsteel stuff come out. So this is where I actually heard some controversy. Not necessarily controversy, but more complaining. And this is where I feel like the League skins have had, you know, as good as they've been recently, some of them have been really, really good. A lot of them, especially the legendaries, have had controversy, and rightly so. And for some reason, the fucking Syndra skin had controversy. The fucking Coven Syndra. Like, that one had a lot of controversy to the point where they delayed it. But, now we're on to Heartsteel. So, the biggest controversy or complaint that I heard with this one was the splash art. So, I've seen a lot of the promotional images because, again, I've reacted to this on my YouTube. But, they said, like, the splash art looks kind of weird. And I honestly agree. The splash art looks kind of ass. Now, it makes me question, did they do this because they're men? I don't know. But there's all this other art of Heartsteel, and it's better than this. I'll just say that. So I'm a little sad they used this. This one looks really dumb. Like, all the smoke and stuff, it looks very, it looks very weird. But the skins themselves, so I haven't seen too much of the in-games, because Surrender at 20 is dead, unfortunately. Rest in peace. Hopefully one day it comes back. But, that's unlikely. So, from what I've seen, I think these skins are pretty good. I think the whole theme is good. I think some people fit the skin way better than others. Like, for instance, Cassant kind of just looks like regular Cassant with different clothes. Whereas, like, other people, like Aphelios and, I thought it was Varus was in here. I guess I was wrong. Which is weird. I really thought it was Varus. But, you know, I believe Kane's also getting the Legendary, which is insane. Like, oh my god, dude, he's gonna have another Legendary. But anyway, I think the in-games are pretty good for some of the people, and for some reason, a lot of the people who got it, I mean, obviously they have to be popular. Like fucking Ezreal, dude. I thought Ezreal was fucking Vars because of the hair and everything. But I think overall it's pretty good, and I want to see more stuff like this because we've gotten too many K-pop shit with girls. We need some shit with the men. We need some shit with the boys. Now, granted, I don't really like the lineup. I wish we got something a little bit better like Braum. I think Braum would have been amazing, even though it's not widely used. But I think Braum would have been a fucking hunk. But yeah. And then we have Breakout True Damage Echo. I already talked about this. This is the $200 skin, which is just a chroma, but slightly better than the Gen one. And then Prestige Heartsteel Yon, which looks pretty funny. It looks like he's playing Beat Saber. But yeah, I haven't seen too much of the skins, but I do like the theme and excuse me, I like how they're going towards men. I like men. So that's pretty cool. Hopefully they continue with it. And then here we have the chromas. The Aphelios one looks really nice. Heartsteel Yon looks a little weird. Heartsteel Set looks very uninspired. Like Set, it's hard to do. Ezreal looks really good. Kassan looks actually a lot better in game than I thought. And then Kayn, I wish they would show the chromas for his transformations, but I don't know how good the Kayn legendary is, and I haven't heard any sort of controversy on him reusing animations. And the fact that that's even a thing because of the Soraka skin and the Samira skin, which is an ultimate for some reason, like it's so sad. It's so sad to see how things have degraded in quality, especially with the fucking stupid breakout skins. Because oh my god, these are so fucking stupid. Like, bro, this should just be a fucking Mythic Essence chroma. It's so dumb. But this is where their work goes into, because they actively made this better, and it is better than the Gen 1, because it costs $200 fucking dollars. So it's almost like they have an incentive to make it good because people are paying more money for it. And the stuff that we could get for free, or somewhat free in the Mythic Essence shop, isn't as good. It sucks, man. It sucks how greedy corporate fucking meandering gets involved. I don't even think that's the right word. But anyway, overall, that's the patch. Let me think. Let me go through it quickly. So, Brand, good. Briar, not good. Mundo, okay. Gragas, laughable. But actually pretty good. Pretty good and somewhat laughable. Graves, ass. Janna, pretty good. Sant, this is from last patch. Caston, kind of whatever. Neela, whatever. Rammus, pretty good. Senna, whatever. Seraphine, good. Tom Kench, whatever. Barely any change. And then Ziggs. So, what was the two big changes they said they were doing? Because I know one of them was the attack speed thing, but what was the second one? I actually forgot it. The second one was the Janna thing. Okay, yeah. So, in terms of the two big things they did, I think, you know, I can't really say for the attack speed thing. That's more of a thing I'll have to see and experience myself. But in terms of the Janna thing, I think they did pretty well. I mean, only time will really tell. But I think this patch wasn't bad. It wasn't crazy, but I definitely don't think it was too terrible. Just looking at it on its own, I think overall, I'll probably give this patch like a 6.5. Unfortunately, we didn't have any good AD changes here. But I would say 6.5 because 5 is neutral. If I give a patch a 5, that means it's neutral. Anything below 5 is not good. Above 5 is good. 6.5 above neutral. Pretty alright. It's alright. It's alright. So 6.5 Marc Merrills out of 10. That's going to be it for me in the patch notes. And like I said, I record this and stream at Twitch TV/Tecnics channel. So come over there and watch me live and hang out. Hope everyone enjoyed.